I often look back at the cover of the Mysterious Benedict Society as I read, because you can understand more and more about the cover through reading. The story is shown throughout the cover. The two identical people in the windows are Mr. Benedict and his evil twin brother, Mr. Curtin. You also see violets, and both men keep violets, but Mr. Benedict has a real one, while Mr. Curtin has a fake one. The four main characters in the book are all on the cover, doing what they are most known for doing. Sticky is with a book, Constance is looking very unhappy, Kate is doing some acrobatics, and Rainey is looking out of a spyglass. I also noticed that there is a silhouette of Mr. Benedict, as well as a bookshelf, of which there are many of in his house. There are a lot of mysterious things in the cover, like the hedges that look like chess pieces, and the eyes in the dark, with a parted curtain that are looking out of the shadows. There are some interesting aspects of the cover, like the white smoke in the form of question marks coming out of the chimney. Finally, there are a lot of bright colors that draw you in. My first sentence is, in a city called Stonetown, near a port called Stonetown Harbor, a boy named Rainey Muldoon is preparing to take an important test. When I read the opening sentence of the Mysterious Benedict Society, I immediately get a lot of questions about the test. One is, what is the test about? I wonder why he is taking this test. I also wonder why the test is important, but I can't infer much about this passage. But when it says preparing, I think of Rainey studying, and probably quite a bit, for the test is apparently important. I have taken many tests and quizzes before, and I know that it can be stressful. It can be especially stressful during an important one. The early passage is, the newspaper that morning had been filled with the usual headlines, several of them devoted to what was commonly called the emergency. Things had gotten desperately out of control, the headlines reported. The school systems, the budget, the pollution, the crime, the weather, why, everything in fact, was a complete mess, and citizens everywhere were clamoring for a dramatic improvement in government. Things must change now was the slogan, plastered on billboards all over the city. It was a very old slogan. Although Rainey rarely watched television, he knew the emergency was the main source of subject of the news programs every day, as it had been for years. Naturally, when Rainey and Miss Perumal first met, they discussed the emergency at great length, finding themselves quite in agreement about politics. However, they soon found such conversation boring, and decided to drop the subject. In general, then, they talked about other news stories, those that varied day to day, and afterwards they amused themselves by reading the advertisements. Such was the case on that particular morning when Rainey's life had so suddenly taken a turn. When I read this passage, I think that Rainey's life changing might have something to do with the test mentioned in the first sentence. Also, I wonder whether the turn in Rainey's life is for better or for worse. I also wonder what caused the emergency. When it says the slogan is very old, it suggests that the emergency has gone on for a very long time. I feel like the situation is very dire, and it also sounds quite hopeless, for the emergency has gone on for so long. I actually laughed quite a bit at the part with the slogan being old, yet saying that things needed to change now. In the big picture, I noticed how the author makes it sound like the big problems of the economy and Afghanistan all just kind of roll up together to make a huge problem known as the emergency. The Mysterious Benedict Society requires a lot of thinking from you. It gives you these clues and hints in different sections and passages of the book, and whether the clue is important or not, the author makes it a puzzle for you. When Rainey is taking part of the test, there's a very difficult section, but it turns out that it's a puzzle, where the answers are hidden in the questions of the test. And the character reads questions aloud, and if you remember the first question, you can actually spot the pattern about a half a page before he does. Also, I did not notice it when I first read the chapters, but they are very long. The chapters are about 20 pages each, maybe longer for some. The chapters are also broken up not by cliffhangers, but by the beginning, middle, and end of an event, almost like a mini story within a book. The Mysterious Benedict Society is full of mystery, as the title suggests. There are many twists and turns in the plot, and the entire book is a puzzle. You never learn Mr. Benedict's first name in the book, but on the back of the book, it says his name in Morse code. The book is extremely interesting. It gives you a huge amount of inner voice conversation. The questions you get while reading the book keeps you reading. The Mysterious Benedict Society is one of the best books I have ever read.